up, everybody? In this video we're going to install a ride mode selector. Yes, you can put a ride mode selector on your Harley Davidson as long as you've got throttle by wire. This is the RBW Skull, and this is going to give you 5 different ride modes. So the 5 ride modes are normal. Road mode is just your factory settings, like nothing has changed. You're also going to get rain mode, city mode, sport mode, and anarchy mode. So this is really cool. It's this little knob that sits right next to your throttle, so you're able to easily switch the different modes. My buddy down in Houston, Texas has this on his Road Glide, and he says it's pretty impressive. I had heard about the RBW Skull a couple of years ago and kind of wondered about it, but I didn't try it at that time. And then after my buddy Knuckles from Knuckles TV, his YouTube channel, you can check out his review videos on this as well. After he got it and told me how impressive it is, I decided I needed to try it for myself. We're just going to go ahead and get the thing installed, and then we'll try it out and see what we think. And yeah, it should be a pretty exciting video, right? I think so. Let's do this. So first off, real quick, let's just take a look at what's in the box. Take a little peek here. So this is your control switch. This is going to mount right next to your throttle, and this is the control module where your controller is going to plug in, and then this hooks up to your throttle wiring. That's what's in the box. That was easy. Also, this longer bolt comes with it as well. Alright, now I obviously have the big ass drink holder here from Ciro 3D. So I'm not sure if we're going to use this extra bolt or not. This should replace the spacer. It's like the same width. I think this is going to work. There are instructions that you can download off of their website, because depending on whether or not, you know, your setup is likely different than mine. We're not all the same. Looks like I'm going to have to loosen up this bottom one just a bit. So then for this drink holder mount, I have this little spacer. But it just so happens that it's like the same, well, it's actually longer than this one. So I'm not exactly sure if it's going to work or if we're going to have to figure something else out. But let's just try it. Yeah, that's going to work just fine. Alright, so mounting the switch is super easy. That's cool. Now we're going to run the wiring. I'm just going to run it down along the brake line and zip tie it. And then we're going to have to open up our gauge cluster because this is a Road Glide. So installation will be a little bit different, obviously, if you've got a batwing fairing. So obviously all this is going to be different on a batwing fairing, but this is a Road Glide. This is how we do it on the Road Glide. These are Dakota Digital gauges, so this is probably going to be different than yours, but I just want to be able to get this stuff out of the way a little bit so you can kind of get an idea of what we're doing here. On a stock setup that hasn't been messed with at all, there'd be a tray across here, and these connectors would be clipped into the tray, but obviously things are a little different here. Okay, so I know there's a lot of wires right here and it looks kind of chaotic and that can be a bit intimidating, but just try to watch how easy this is. This is the connector that comes off of the skull switch. This is our handlebar wiring, our throttle control wiring, that was plugged into this connector here. So this was here already. All we're doing is taking our new control module. This is the RBW Skull ECM control module. We're going to plug the one end into the bike. The other end, your throttle wiring plugs into. And that leaves two others. This one has a tag on it that says don't use, so we don't use it. And this one, your switch is going to plug into. And all this stuff can only plug in one way, so you can't mess it up. Now, we're just going to tuck all of this back down in here. And we've got this excess wiring now from the switch. Plenty of wiring for this project. And we're just tucking this all in here. Plug my speedometer cluster back in. Make sure all my wiring is tucked in here. Screw my gauge cluster housing back in place. I just want to grab a couple of black zip ties. I just want little ones. Don't have to get too wild here. And that's really it. That took 5 minutes to install, really. I mean, even with the zip ties. So very simple install. I think we need to go try this out. This straight up and down is normal road mode. All the way over here is rain mode. This is city mode. That's back to road mode, your normal factory settings. This is sport mode. And this is anarchy over here. That's all there is to it. Alright, so basically all that's left to do now, I gotta finish putting my bike together. I forgot the little ignition switch housing thingy. Pretty much all that leaves is a test ride. Let's go do it. Let's get it. Let's try out this ride mode selector switch. So right now it's just a normal mode. So it's just like it was before I put the switch on. This is kind of what you get. Okay, so now I'm going to switch it to rain mode. Maybe a little less power that way. This is city mode. City mode's supposed to get you better mileage, better for like stop and go traffic, I guess. So I'm gonna switch normal mode because well, I'll try it. This is normal mode. Better get in a decent gear. That's what we all know and love. That's what we're used to. Sport mode. Not sure if I'm feeling that much more responsiveness, to be honest with you, in sport mode. Yeah, maybe. She does. Especially when she gets close to third gear. So this is anarchy mode. So you basically need to turn your throttle back to 0 to get it to switch any of these modes. So it definitely is more responsive. I can see how, like Knuckles with the Milwaukee 8, which is a torquier motor anyways, he notices a big difference just with a little bit of throttle, and it sets you back, and I'm not used to being set back on this 2016 Road Glide Ultra. Let's go this way. So this doesn't mess with your tune or anything like that. It works on stock or your stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. It doesn't matter. All this is doing is affecting your throttle response. So in anarchy mode, you're getting a lot more throttle response with just a little bit of throttle. Now if we turn it back to 0, switch it, so this is sport. And sport is supposed to be real good for like hilly areas, you know, like if you're riding around Black Hills for the Sturgis Rally and things like that. It's just nice and responsive, smooth. And then we'll take it back to normal. And notice I'm having to get it a lot more throttle to get it up in the RPMs. Where if I turn it back to anarchy, especially if I was in 5th, I suppose, I'm getting a lot higher RPMs with just a small amount of throttle. So it's not like a huge difference, like, oh my gosh, like my bike has got so much power, but it's all just the throttle response, right? So anarchy is just a little more fun. And of course, if you've got a newer bike and you're running you might be running a 107 or a 114 or a 117, you're really going to notice probably even more, like a quicker, snappier response with less throttle. Let's turn on the heated grips. It is definitely gives it a faster acceleration with a shorter rotation of the throttle, which is kind of cool. So it's, yeah, like I said, it's not giving you more power, it's just using the power you have earlier, sort of, if that makes sense. But it's just like a ride mode in a car or a truck or other motorcycles. Ride modes in motorcycles, you know, it's nothing new. This will be the first time I've been on the interstate since I've redone the bike. Anarchy mode would be real nice for on the interstate. I do like that. Just not having to turn the grip as far. So it's nothing wild. I guess I was kind of somewhat expecting it to be a little more wild than that. Like, oh, hold on. Like, we're burning rubber. Like, the tires are smoking down the street. But it's not. It's a lot more responsible than that, which is cool. So this is like a one-of-a-kind deal, right? This dude's out of Italy. and he wanted to make this road ride mode selector switch, and he made it happen. So anarchy mode is fun. I think the rain mode will be nice, just because, you know, it gives it less power, so it's a little bit safer for riding in adverse conditions, which is cool. And yeah, it's just exciting times. These grips are really hot. We're going to take it down into rain mode, and when this light turns green, we'll see how the takeoff is. I think that's probably when you're going to notice this the most. Yeah, there's just not as much there. She's working a lot harder to get up to speed, which is good. That's what you want in raid mode. Don't pull out in front of me. Thank you. So cool. I'm going to play around with this a little more and see if I can really notice a difference. Hey, thanks for everything, guys. Stay safe out there as always, and we will catch you in the next video from Touring Midwest. Yeah, peace.